Hey guys, this is Jeff from the bonus stage coming at you with the second in our series of mini-reviews, and this week I'm going to be taking a look at the blood-drenched first issue of the Resident Evil comic, which I was very excited to pick up and see on the stands. I was really pumped to read it, and unfortunately, it let me down in almost every way possible. Let me tell you why. It follows two separate BSAA members that we have never seen before, we have no idea about, and they give us no backstory on them. So, right out of the gate, you're 0 for 1, with not knowing anything about the characters you're supposed to be attached to and care about and fearful for when shit goes down, which obviously, the title says Resident Evil, you know shit's gonna hit the fan. Unfortunately, when the shit hits the fan, it doesn't really do it in any way that hasn't already been done before. The first story involves Mina Gear. She's sent out to the Joint Nations Space Research Center, and there's a T-virus outbreak. Okay, obviously. The second part, BSA rescue team is sent into Uzbekistan to recover a downed team helicopter crash, and obviously as soon as they hit the ground, the shit hits the fan. The first story, it's really uninteresting, unfortunately, because they had such a great setting. Being in outer space is really cool, doesn't matter really what you do with it. Outer space always kicks ass, and when you're alone and there are zombies and, like, you know, shit trying to kill you, outer space is one of the coolest environments to have that happen. Unfortunately, they kind of screwed up, like, right at the beginning. The first bow she encounters is a licker, which shouldn't ever happen right off the bat. You should be encountering zombies, you know, some dogs, some Cerberuses or whatever, and then, you know, a licker. You gotta sort of gradually go up the scale of difficulty and how badass these creatures are. You know, Resident Evil 2, you started out, killed a couple zombies, you know, you killed a couple puking zombies, you go into the police station, and then you see the licker for the first time. That was scary. And you really didn't have much to defend yourself with. Unfortunately, this Mina girl, you know, sees a licker, the tongue grabs her neck, and she beats the shit out of it and makes really short work of it. You know, it's like, okay, well, you know, they're gonna throw a couple floating zombies around later, and, you know, she cuts their heads off, they're fucked up, whatever, and, you know, it's like, alright, so she's unstoppable, I guess, and that really doesn't make you feel like this, you know, this person's in danger, even though they're in danger. So, unfortunately, they didn't do a very good job with that. I'm not sure what the writers were thinking, but they really didn't plan that very well. Second story was more action, a lot of really cool action, I gotta admit, but it was less smart. Basically lacks all the characteristics of a natural story. As soon as their choppers land, the shit hits the fan. One guy breaks his leg really badly, and it was actually the coolest part of the whole comic book was his bones sticking out of his leg, and he's screaming, and he's like, "No, I can take care of it." And the captain comes in and snaps his bone back in, which is one of the coolest frames I've ever seen in a comic book. It was super realistic and really cool. Unfortunately, after that, you know, a bunch of the team dies, and the captain's left by himself, and you know, it's sort of really stupid. This guy's like, he just reminds me of like an Arnold Schwarzenegger character, a one-man army wrecking crew, but unfortunately he spends most of his time running away. That's my dryer. Obviously you don't really care about this guy because, like Mina, you get no backstory at all, and nothing's really explained, so you really have no reason to care about him. The only good part about this comic book, and it was kind of a letdown, was the endings. The way the story ends on each side is they introduce this new BOW. For those of you who don't know, it's bioorganic weapon. And they're really, like, the first one anyway in space is this really massive Plant 42 looking monster, which is really cool, but unfortunately right at that frame when they introduce it, you know, it's done. So they they move on to the ending of the second part, and there is a sort of a tyrant-ish zombie guy walking around who looks seriously strong, and unfortunately, as soon as that guy gets introduced, the comic book ends. So there's really no incentive for anybody who isn't and I stress diehard. If you're a diehard Resident Evil fan, you're gonna pick up this comic, not because it's good, but because you have to, and that's just, like, if you're a fan of anything, you know, as soon as they bring something out, you gotta buy it, and this is one of those things. I'm not quite sure how many issues are gonna be in this series, but something tells me it's going to be short-lived because this is not written very well, and the drawings aren't as good as I would have hoped. So if you're just a casual RE fan, don't pick it up. If you're a casual comic book fan, avoid it at all costs because there are much better comic books out there than this. This is not a very good comic book, but if you're gonna pick it up because you're an RE fan, you'll probably get some sort of enjoyment out of it. Hopefully the next few issues are going to be good because this, as a blood-drenched first issue, was not very good at all. So that's all I gotta say about it. Stay tuned for our next episode of the bonus stage. We're going to be taking a look at the brand new Nintendo DSi. Me and Tom both picked one up, so we're going to be doing a really good review, in-depth review on that, and a couple of DS games, and hopefully even some DSiWare. So stay tuned for that. Thanks for watching.